I'm the home slice of Sen Hyperion, and this is Let's Argue. Let's Argue is a series where I take to Twitter and engage in your hot Halo takes, your crazy ideas, and your normal opinions. I agree or disagree and explain why. But for today's episode of Let's Argue, I flipped the script and changed it to Let's Agree. See? On Twitter, I asked you for your most agreeable Halo take, and today we're gonna see if you're as likable as you think you are. You guys showed out for this thread, so to celebrate that, I'm doing more takes in this video than I typically do. And on top of all that, I'm happy to partner with today's sponsor to give you the opportunity to get paid to play Halo. And that's it, no strings attached. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, and then we'll hop into the takes. Today's video is sponsored by Z-League. I'm giving you guys a couple $100 to play Halo this weekend with Z-League. This isn't a joke. I'm hosting a solos Halo tournament with Z-League that's free and open to anyone. The best part? Your score will be automatically tracked for you. Pause the video and click the link in my description below. Seriously, it's right down there. Pause the video, click it. I'll see you in the tournaments this weekend, June 10th, 11th, and 12th. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like all episodes of Let's Argue, I'm joined by a beer. Today's is a Linnenkugel's Summer Shandy. Linnenkugel's actually makes what is my favorite brew of all time, the Orange Shandy. Unparalleled, absolute perfection. And I have not been able to buy it for the last 2 years. I don't know if they're just not making it anymore at all, or if it doesn't make it to my part of the country, or what. But if you have the opportunity to buy the Linnenkugel's Orange Shandy, do it. It is 100% home slice recommended. The Summer Shandy is okay. It's a lemon beer, fairly standard. It's better than a shitty shock top, so. Anyway, we got plenty of takes to fly through today, so I won't delay any longer. Let's do it. Alex G Music says, every Halo game had absolute bangers on their soundtrack. Best part of that fact? No two Halo games sound alike, and that's beautiful. I agree. It is very true that one of the intrinsic traits of all Halo games, any era, is just having really good music. And part of that is Halo's kind of stand-out take to music. As in, for being a shooter game, you anticipate it to have very generic, action-y, generic tinge of music that comes with it. And Halo, for me, breaks that mold. It's like, oh, here's just a really beautiful orchestral piece that was going to be backset to all your alien combat. But as I've aged and gotten aged ears, I think it has become more noticeable to me that even the original trilogy had very different instrumentations and motifs and sounds. And that's especially true for Halo 2 for me. Halo 2 sounds very different than Halo 3 and Halo CE to me. Of course there's tracks that have evolutions or similarities, but there's just something about it. And I'm not a music guy, I don't have an arts degree, so I can't describe that to you. It is just an emotion and a feeling, and I think it's true. So Alex, I agree with this one. Good take. Heisendrive says, without Arbiter's perspective in Halo 2, we would have never seen the Covenant as thoroughly fleshed out beyond being faceless, dogmatic aliens as we saw. I 100% absolutely agree. Halo 2 is integral in defining, I would consider Halo as the universe, okay? Halo CE set up the premise of the game, and it all felt very self-contained. And it wasn't until Halo 2 where the Halo universe, I think as we know it, in the modern sense, really started to take shape. And it is extremely true for the Covenant. I call this the humanization of the Covenant, as seen through the Arbiter's perspective in the Arbiter's campaign. It really does transform the Covenant from a collection of blabbering, yada yada fucking aliens to almost an entity, a collection of things you can sympathize with, right? And it's not so much sympathize, maybe that's not the word, but it grounds them, you know what I'm saying? They become less about, oh, we're the aliens and we want to take over and yada yada. It's all their motives are human. And that was an extremely important part of Halo's narrative that I think almost as irreplaceable. I can't imagine the modern Halo narrative without the Arbiter storyline and what it provided for Halo. The Arbiter's trial is the big one. Even in the earliest moments of Halo 2, it is looking to create sympathy in what would have been the enemy in the prior game. And it's so grandiose. The scale of the Covenant is so immense, but it takes like a very simple human, like here's the trial of the human, and it makes it this massive, execution trial event. That's just so cool. And this is, it's almost any scene Shipmaster is in, but in particular, just that small, like 40-second cutscene where Shipmaster is giving the speech to the troops on the in the quarantine zone, saying, "We will burn through the yada yada, cut a path to glorious salvation," or whatever he says, right?
We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way.
It's that, it's like Braveheart. It's like, you're like, wow, this shit's just cool. Like, these guys are cool. That's the feeling you get. You're like, these guys aren't just aliens. They're fucking sick. They're warriors, So again, agree 100%. Oh, Kevin, you've caused enough trouble on this channel. Kevin Cool says Halo 3 is the best Halo game. No comment. I actually have a rule about assigning Halo games best or worst on this channel, and even in Let's Argue, where I kind of like break a Sen Hyperion character and talk to you more personally. It's all about making sure nobody can claim a Sen Hyperion. I'm supposed to be a neutral party in the Halo community and an advocate for criticizing and praising all things Halo. But the take, Kevin understood the assignment. The take, Halo 3 is the best Halo game, is probably very agreeable to many people. And in my eyes, what that really stems back to is that Halo 3 represents one of the primary houses of Halo. It generated one of Halo's primary fan bases. Now, mind you, that is also one of Halo's aging fan bases these days, whose days gaming are limited, whether or not they want to admit it or not. But still, the impact of Halo 3 on the Halo franchise and the Halo community is not discountable. And it's easy to just assert many people like it, so many people think it's the best, and that's all she wrote, right? So if you think Halo 3 is the best Halo game, you can think whatever you want to think. If you guys think any Halo game is the best Halo game, I don't give a shit. As long as you like Halo, you can like it your way. Until you start telling people they can't like their Halo. Also, if you want to see me and Kevin riff a little more, Kevin was on an episode of Let's Argue, if you haven't seen that, and it was pretty good. Riker G has a bit of a longer take here, but I think the most important part is right in the beginning. New fans of the franchise are just as valid as old fans. I 100% agree. This problem, I think, stems well beyond Halo, but it's a problem that is still intrinsic of the Halo community. People who are veteran fans are, and this isn't for everybody, and I don't want to generalize, but there are plenty of veteran Halo fans who feel their time spent with the franchise makes their opinions about Halo more valuable than someone else's. And I mean, that's something that's easy to argue. Like, it's one of those, here's a subjective statement, and it's easy to argue about it, right? I don't think there's anything that objectively states, oh, you played this game longer, suddenly you are the crown prince of fucking Saudi Arabia. And there's a difference between saying, oh, I've played Halo for 5 years, I understand it a little more. Okay, that's probably a fairer statement. But I don't think it's as fair to say, oh, I've played Halo for 5 years, therefore your opinion about Halo is invalid. I mean, there's almost no other way to describe it than immature. I mean, that's the word that comes to mind for me. It's just immature, guys. I mean, like, one, if you've been playing this game longer, chances are you are a grown-ass adult, and why you feel the need to, like, belittle and oust teenagers, if not preteens, from the gaming franchise community is, like, it's beyond me, man. That seems like a personal hang-up you have. and it's an insecurity maybe you have about yourself and what you're doing. But no, I think, and in many ways, this is an opinion of mine and a bias of mine. I think new fans are the future, okay? And this is something I preach a lot on this channel. No matter how much of a dedicated gamer you think you are, statistically speaking, by the raw fucking numbers that are, you will stop gaming. You will eventually stop, okay? And it's not like people treat it as like pessimism or doom and gloom. And I mean, it's not like that. I mean, that's not the point. You just eventually, on average, are going to stop playing this game. And then who's going to be left? The new fans who you so violently fought on the internet to ostracize and remove from the community. It's just not healthy, all right? Like when you go, you need to be replaced. There has to be new fans. And hey, the reality of it is those new fans are going to like things different from you, okay? Because the games, as time has gone on, have become different. I think something Halo fans forget, especially ones that are around my age, is that at one point in time, we were the new fans. I mean, there was plenty of community discourse and disagreement about games like Halo 3, even Halo 2. The immediate sequel to the Halo CE created rift in the community, okay? And the only difference between you now, right, and you then is that the people who were older than you are just no longer around, right? So they're no longer around to put you down. So now you are here and now you're putting the other fan. It's just senseless to me, all right? I'm not saying we have to yield all our opinions and thoughts and ideas to younger fans, but we should be promoting them, encouraging them to continue to stick with the franchise because they have their reasons they enjoy Halo, okay? And those reasons are different from yours. And guys, I hate to say it, but the type of shit that you're looking for in a Halo game is liable to never come back. I mean, it's done. Some of you are looking to recreate a feeling, not a game, okay? Some of you are looking to recreate the feeling of being a preteen or a teenager again. A new Halo game is not going to do that for you. That's the grander scheme, okay? But what is reality is that these new fans have things about current Halo that they like, okay? And they're going to fight to preserve and keep that and see that move forward. So, I don't know. I agree. We tear into each other too often based on what game you started playing at. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you like Halo, you like Halo, and that should be the fucking end of it. So, Ryuji Gunblade says, Halo Wars 1 is badass start to finish. I agree. The story of Halo Wars 1 is one of my favorite in the entire Halo franchise. And from the point that I kind of analyze and discuss Halo as a franchise, I don't think Halo Wars gets enough credit for how much it establishes for the Halo universe, especially from the perspective of the Human Covenant War, which in reality is like, it's only just mentioned in the first 3 Halo games. Like, we understand humanity and the Covenant are at war, and like there's hints that Earth is all that's left. But Halo Wars is the first game that really shows the grandiose scale of combat that was the Human Covenant War. And I think it's really important to get that story from the perspective of like when it started. Halo Wars 1 takes place 30 years before the events of Halo CE, which I think only further solidifies how dire the situation is by the time you hit the events of Halo CE 2 and 3. You know, this isn't just like, oh, aliens showed up and we shoot for like 2 months and all Halo's discovered. I mean, this is like, it's almost hard in the modern sense to imagine a 30-year conflict to this scale. Otherwise, I think Halo Wars was also an important step in establishing what the Spartans are/were, partially because the original Halo trilogy had that kind of half-assed thing about Master Chief being the last Spartan, which was like an ambiguous plot point, again, never really discussed. But Halo Wars really showed that Spartans were like, again, this is what humanity's best offer is. Like, this is our response to the crisis. And it really showed that the Master Chief himself is like a Spartan amongst Spartans. To see how many Spartans it took in Halo Wars to kind of pull off what they did, and even that was impressive. And everyone knows that the red team fight scene on the bridge is one of the best in Halo. All right, that's cool, but that's 3 of them. And to see what Master Chief does on his story, I mean, I think it helped escalate the grandiose of Chief's character as well. Everything from the fucking music to the art style to the story, yes, Halo Wars 1 I think is one of the most important entries in the franchise, and I wish I got more credit for doing that, so agree. Tasty says, Halo 5 Forge is far superior to Halo Reach Forge, including custom games. Oh, you had me. You had me in the first half. This is hard. Actually, it's not really that hard. Yes, 100% agree. Undeniable. It is an objective fact. Halo 5 Forge is better than Halo Reach Forge. Hands down. I mean, I won't even entertain it as subjective. I don't think it's a matter of opinion or preference. Halo 5 Forge as a tool is objectively better than Halo Reach's Forge. That is undeniable. And whenever you make a statement like that, the first argument you get from somebody is, oh, it was too complicated. Like, I'm sorry, you're fucking stupid. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't mean that. And I'm not a supporter of like exclusivity, and I'm not trying to like, oh, you can't figure it out. I do agree. Halo 5 Forge has a learning curve. It's a tool that has to be learned. That's part of why it's objectively better. It's so much better than Reach's Forge. It's not just a simple matter of throwing warthogs down. It is a venerable map creator. If not, it's right there on the cusp. You know what I'm saying? The absolute depth of creation that Halo 5 Forge allowed is unmatched in the Halo franchise. And there's just no fight in that. I understand we have positive feelings and positive memories and nostalgia for Reach. Guys, I get it, okay? I've been forging since 3, alright? And I thought me throwing a couple blocks together on Sandbox was the coolest shit when I was 12, alright? And coming from that perspective, going from Halo 3 to Halo Reach to Halo 4 to Halo 2 Anniversary, I mean, I am infatuated with what Forge has become. And I will always be a supporter and driver of Forge just getting better. And let me say something outright. If Forge getting better means less and less people can use it, so be it. Because in my mind, the quality of map content that can be produced with a better and better tool is always more valuable than the quantity that would be produced if it was simpler to use. Including custom games, I don't know about that. I think Reach custom games and Halo 5 custom games often had very different goals, and you know, this is probably a better discussion point. This sounds like a great video topic. You know, Halo 5 Forge, because the tool was so advanced, you then had people trying to take it beyond a simple custom game. People wanted very elaborate and multi-stepped modes. It was almost to the point where with the use of scripting or other things, people were trying to create miniature game experiences inside Halo 5 Forge. As were with Reach and 3, it was all that mini-game stuff. It was like, oh, the dice can be used to kill you, and that's kind of funny and quirky, and oh, duck hunt to run past the shields. Like Halo 5 could have done all that, but because it could do more, people were constantly stressing to make it do more. That's a really good point, and I don't know what's better than the other. I think they both have their merits. But that's kind of where the objectivity stops for me. The tool is better. Whether or not the custom games are better, I don't know. So. Good point though, Tasty. DonCut97 says, I still think Halo 3 and Reach visually look good to this day. While anniversaries of both would be greatly appreciated, I don't think they're a necessary must. I wouldn't mind seeing blur cinematics of Halo 3 and Halo Reach cutscenes though. I agree. The right older games still look really good. And I think part of what is happening here, some newer games, Halo Infinite included, are trying to focus on like this, and there's probably better terms to describe it, but I'm like a live lighting engine. Like Halo Infinite has like a live day cycle, right? Where all the lighting is real time. With these real time lighting engines, things don't look as vibrant. they look washed out and simple, and they have that high noon effect where the shadows have all but disappeared and the night times are dull and unimpressive and the sunsets just don't really hit like they should. I think the big difference is that 10, 15 years ago, when you were creating the lighting for an environment, it was a snapshot, right? And you put a lot of time and effort into making that snapshot of lighting look really good. And if there's one modern game that I think continues to outshine these real-time lighting engines using the same mentality, it's Destiny 2. Destiny 2 uses that, like, this environment is like a snapshot, right? You enter this space and its lighting is like, it was crafted like this. And don't get me wrong, Destiny has day-night elements, but those day-night elements are snapshots of day and night, right? They're not like, it's not real time, okay? So Destiny 2, I think, continues to look considerably better than a lot of modern games because it's focusing on what that environment should look like and not like trying to simulate the real world. Maybe the technology will get better. I don't know, but I have this gripe with Infinite. Like, Infinite to me does not look that good from a visual lighting perspective. And I agree, Halo 3 and Halo Reach look good, if not better, than Infinite in comparison because they're focused on creating those environments. I like what Don Cut's getting at here, and maybe that's something for you guys to discuss in the comments below. So I'd like to see, and it might be an indicator to game developers like, hey, you might think this live time light rendering thing is groundbreaking, and it might be groundbreaking technologically speaking. Is it better looking? Is it delivering a higher quality product? In the case of Infinite, I don't think it is. That's going to do it for this episode of Let's Argue. Like always, be sure you like and subscribe for more. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about these agreeable Halo takes? You all got an agree out of me. So you go and won the assignment, I suppose. Like always, you can follow me on Twitter for more if you want to participate in Let's Argue or just watch me riff on the internet. Follow me on Instagram, and you can join my Discord linked below. Until next time, catch y'all later.